little awkward lag at the very beginning. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to go and hit start streaming and we will see what it does. So it says my event is starting. Happy days, good morning. I'm Matt and welcome to this week's RC Coffee Chat. Let's pause for a slurp a second. So what have we got in this week's episode for you? Number one, we have RC... what am I talking about RC2? iNav. We've taken a new look at iNav and also the latest 2.0.0 version and also got the Ritewing out, which we'll see in a moment. Anyway, we'll find out about that in a moment. And also, I need to, I've been doing this, sanity check when it comes to the placebo effect, when it comes to the Matek F7 boards. That'll make more sense in a moment. Oh, and there's a new flight mode as well, which is really cool. We will be discussing the new Hobbyking website as well. Finally, that's all I'm going to say on that one right now. The new Bird or Turd series, which is a work in progress, and I can't wait to share some of the birds which are on the way to me right now. We will be discussing Model Mondays and also some 26650 batteries as well, which I think I've got 20 on the way to me at the moment, and we'll have a chit chat about those. So good morning, that's what we got on our topics list today, and I tell you what, let's just get straight in there. So let me go and swap the screen. So there we go. We'll start off with iNav. Now the thing is that the model which you've got up on the screen is the Ritewing, and there's a link to this video down in the doobly-doo. But the Ritewing is a model which I've had here for ages, and I was in the process of converting it, putting a Eagle Tree Vector in there. But then another model turned up, and I needed to put the Vector in that, and I've refused to buy any more Eagle Tree Vectors because they're like 180 quid each, 175 quid each. So I needed another alternative. And there was a chit chat going on in the Facebook group about the new Matek F722 boards. Somebody mentioned it in passing. So I went and got a hold of one and a PDB to go in there, and I was absolutely super impressed. There's this little ribbon cable which comes up and joins the two boards in a little sandwich. And it just makes things just so much easier. And I've managed to cram it inside the Ritewing, and it was one of the peachiest maiden flights I've had in a very, very long time. It just went off and then just flew off in a straight line, and off it went. I genuinely wish that I got it on film. So yeah, it's such an oddity. Now, the one thing, if I tell you what, let's go and get the Matek website up, and I'll get the parts up so you can see. The one thing which I've changed for the second time around is that I was using the power distribution board. I can't forget which one it was. It was the one with the board on there. Oh yeah, the FC Hub. There's me talking away when it just gets on the screen. The one which I was using previously was the PDB FC Hub 6S, which would be great if I was using a quad. However, the Wing PDB, which I've got two of, I'll get some one of the tabs, is absolutely fantastic. That does allow you to have the power coming in, the power going back out again, and then you've got all the tabs down here for your servo connectors. It just makes things so much easier, because on the other one, I've got cables going around the back and all around the sides and stuff, which is fine in the Ritewing, to be honest. There's the space in there to faff with it. But in the Nano Talon, it's just a complete nightmare. Oh, and we will be able to chat about the Nano Talon. I missed that out of the list as well. So we'll roll the whole conversation about iNav into one, and we'll also include the Ritewing and also the Matek Boards and the Nano Talon in one hit as well. So yeah, absolutely brilliant. Really impressed with it. I've been and bought myself another F7 board. I've got another one on the way, and I bought two of the Wing PDBs. Now, I have already been and installed it in the Nano Talon. Now, this is worthy of a separate chat about that. So we're going to get back to the Nano Talon in just a moment. But the thing is that iNav has. I was thinking to myself, well, I've bought the latest board, which is a Matek F722, and I've got this decent PDB. Well, what version of iNav am I going to stick on it? And then I was having a dig around, and I looked in the 2.0.0 release notes for iNav, and there was two things which caught my attention. One was like, oh, finally, and like in a good way, and the other one was, oh, that's kind of nice. Which is that they've been and added nav cruise mode. So this goes back to a feature request which I think I put in months and months ago, which is basically to copy the 2D hold mode from the Eagle Tree Vector, where the model, you hit 2D hold or nav cruise in this case, and the model will hold its altitude and manage the throttle to hold this altitude, but it also holds its direction. Which is fantastic, because then you can just sit back and enjoy the cruise. You can sort your coffee out or whatever. Okay, it's just nice, just a nice flight mode. You know the model's just going to fly straight, maintain its altitude and maintain its direction. Now, they have been and created it with an oddity, which is that it doesn't work like maybe somebody else would expect it to work, because for you to have 3D cruise, for the model to cruise, you've got nav cruise, which has no altitude management in it, which is a bit odd, which is, we'd expected it. Most people would have expected the altitude hold to be included in it. But you can do that if you combine it with nav alt hold. Now, I've been through a couple of versions, RC2, RC3, and I haven't had a chance to try RC4 yet. And the thing is that when I combined nav cruise with nav alt hold, you lost a really nice feature, which was to be able to use the rudder stick to be able to bank left and right, because before, when you just had nav cruise without the altitude hold, the model was kind of maintaining its height. In fact, as you probably saw in the Freewing video, but you just lost the ability to use the rudder stick, which was a bit odd. So yeah, I need to stick a memory card underneath so that we got some black box login next time we go out and take it out. Oh, and there's one other thing as well. They've I think they're aiming to borrow again, using the Eagle Tree Vector as a reference, the way that the map works as well, so you know where you are in reference to home, which is what does work out really, really well. Anyway, getting to my point is that there were several features which took my fancy, and the overall, and again, I knew it was a release candidate. I knew there might be issues, which there were, like flight timer not working, rudder not working, a few minor things, but crucially the model came home, and it was just whatever niggles there were, they were just so minor in the scheme of things, because the model just flew so well, to the point that I wanted to go out and buy another 1 or 2 Matek boards and stick them in and stick stick the latest version of iNav on it, because it did work out really, really well. And again, it's one of those instances. I'm allowed double standards, aren't I? And I remember the video which I made ages ago, which I know annoyed some people. But the reality is that if you are going to go and try a release candidate or like a bleeding edge software, you've got to be prepared to give the feedback into the team. So there's a thread open for 1 or 2 issues. Again, we had an issue with the GPS, which turned out to be a setting, so that's happy days. I think we just left. We had a flight timer issue, which has been resolved, and now the rudder's missing. And again, it's really nice for me to say that it's just that one thing. You know, in the scheme of things, we're not saying like the model's falling out of the sky. It's just refinements upon refinements. And of course, if we, as you will find, there's a video which we're going to chat about with the Nano Talon in a moment. As you're going to find, the new iNav configurator has come on leaps and bounds, and they've got this whole new mixer section in there. So yeah, it was nice to play around with the stuff on the leading edge. And to be honest, this time around, I didn't really have any major issues, which is great. But I still stand by my words back then, which is that if you just want reliability, just go back to an older version, and everything should just work, which is normally what we want as pilots. We don't want to be fault finding or discovering something doesn't do exactly what you expected it to do, and it being a surprise. This one, eyes wide open, knew exactly what I was getting. So apologies, I've not really looked at your live chat so far. Let's have a quick look. So morning Keith, by the way, as many of you would know him as Bonafide Pirate. Keith says, I really like the process with the iNav, progress with iNav lately. I'm going to finally try it soon. I think you're going to be surprised. There is one thing for you to look at, Keith, which I know that you'll like, is that what I've got on my transmitter, which I've just got here, is that stupid switch on the Tyrannus, which nobody ever uses, that push switch just there. What I've got mine set up to do is that I can push and hold it, and then I can swap the screen over for the OSD. So you can have more than one OSD screen if you wish. And that's the nice thing. So I've got one with all the details on, and then I've got another one with a push button, which is specifically designed to get me home. So that's where I've got that map function, which we were discussing a few moments ago in iNav, that kind of layout, which they've kind of borrowed from the Eagle Tree Vector, is that I've got that kind of layout. So if I need to get my way home, I can click that one, and it's really cut down with just the basic details. And I finally found a use for that stupid momentary switch in the top right-hand corner on the Tyrannus. Never really used it before then. So anyway, it's definitely worth a look. And the oddity is that I... Just thinking it from my point of view, like, sorry, your point of view, as being somebody who's coming from a Vector, the irony is that the Vector is, on face value, scarier to set up than what iNav is in the configurator. And that's the irony, is that they both will look scary when you first go to use them, but the reality is that they're both is just about as easy as the other. The one thing which I really do miss on iNav is the level of configuration of what you can do on the flight line compared to the Vector. I'm sure you know with the Vector, all the inbuilt menus are just fantastically well done. That's just not available in iNav. Anyway, moving on. That kind of provoked me on, and I need to get the Thingiverse. And again, all the details will be out on this one shortly. Let me get this on here. Things which I've liked, and the reason why I'm doing this is because about likes. There we go. It should be a recent one. That's the wrong one. Bonafide Pirate did a video very recently, and it really did get my attention. So I'm just going to pop that up on the screen. What he's done is that, and he's not the first person to pick this up, and it does kind of make sense, which is that with the Nano Talon. So if I get the let's re-swap to the full screen. There we go. So if I get the Nano Talon, is that before it had dihedral in it, so the wings went up into a V, or go, excuse me, they crudely went like that, which is great because it will stabilise the model itself. But the thing is what ended up happening is that every night it would just dawdle and never seem to settle in the middle. So I think that probably annoyed Keith. And what he's been done is create a collection of 3D printed parts, which now allow you for your mini Talon to have a completely flat wing. And it's pretty, then those of you with a 3D printer, you definitely want to be using ABS for this. And all the parts are on Thingiverse. Like I said, I'll put links in the video description, or you can watch, there's an episode about the Nano Talon, which is again in the video description. It covers all the details of what I've done with my build, at least. And we also have a chit chat about iNav and the new mixer, and how to set up VTail configs or tweak a VTail config, as the case may be. So there's a linky to that in the video description. So I've printed off the parts. It was absolutely, it was really straightforward. Each one of these little purple, again, I've only got, the only decent ABS I've got at the moment is purple. So on mine, they've been printed out in purple. Again, I put a piece of laminate on top. When taking these parts out, there are a bit of a faff, but if you just go careful, methodically with them, they do come out quite easily. No, they're not very easy, but they will come out. There's a collection of parts. Anyway, I'll cover all of the details in that video. Now, the one thing which I am going to point out on mine, and again, I cover this in, let's go back to the full screen, is that I've also gone back for an F7 board. So you'll notice up here, just then again, it's messing with the white balance on there. That is the Matek F722 board with the wing PDB on the bottom. It has been a bit of a struggle to fit everything in there. And the reason why it's such a struggle is because it's all just on an angle. And there's just like no space. They call it a Nano Talon for a reason. It really was a struggle to get stuff in there, to say the least. But it has gone in there. And I'm quite impressed. I've been out in the front, I've given it a lob already, and it does glide really well, which is always really promising. So we'll get it loaded up, and if I can sneak out today, I will sneak out today and take it out for a cheeky flight. So I will make sure I press record when we do that. So Anyway, as I was saying, that I'll put links to both Bonafide Pirates video, the original one, which you walk through the whole bits, and also, again, I've got an overview for my one, and also, crucially, iNav, and the setting up of the mixer as well. But it's something which I kept getting asked about, setting up a VTEL mixer, and we talk about the VTEL mixer, and we go a few extra steps further along as well. So that episode is actually available right now. It's down in the video description underneath this video on YouTube, or in the Facebook's group, as the case may be. So that's the Nano Talon. I'm really looking forward to flying that one. That one doesn't get like any video time here, and the reason why it doesn't get any video time here is that I do kind of take it quite often across to some local fields and just chuck it there, and I don't want those fields on the interwebs. So yeah, it's a bit of a shame, because it does fly pretty good. But the last time I took it out, when I was going to take some video footage of it, I actually took it out and was going to use it as a trainer for my daughter to learn to fly FPV in. But it was quite a thermally day, and the poor little thing was getting chucked around all over the shop, which I don't think any amount of dihedral or lack of dihedral is going to make any difference. And also, we've been having a conversation about the stall characteristics for the Nano Talon. Is that I've always found the Nano Talon is that if you do push it and make it go a stall, it just bites you, flips over, and then just carries on. It's such a weird stall. It just literally just flips and then just carries on. It's like, hey, and then back to normal and goes straight and narrow again. It's very, very peculiar. Again, you can do even the ones with the dihedral. That's why I know it exists, is because if you're just pushing it loads and loads of up, again into a headwind, and then lack off to pull back the power, it just goes, and then it would just wingtip stall, flop over, and then it's just like, did that happen? It's just like whoosh and flips back over. So we've probably made that easier to do with a straight wing, but I think as a Bonafide Pirate mentioned in his own video, is that you're always going to be keeping the pace on anyway. So yeah, curious one. Watch this space, in short, for that one. Right, there was another topic which I wanted to include in this one, which was about the placebo effect. Now, this is a serious one. I'm always very aware of this, which is that I've bought like the latest board, which is the Matek F722 board. And again, the reason why that's taken perked my interest, and the reason why it should perk your interest, is because it's a faster processor, it's from a decent brand, and it's the first proper F7 board to come out, which has got a decent number of UART ports on it. The original F7 boards which were coming out just had like 2 UARTs, which is barely enough for USB, a GPS, and maybe an RC input. It was really roping and weren't very good. But these ones have 5 UART ports on them, which is loads and loads of flexibility. Again, maybe later on, if you put an airspeed sensor on there, or want to connect something else up to your board, you can do, like Bluetooth, for example. Yeah, much, much easier, to say the least. So the biggest one for me was the processor speed. And then it would run faster, because that was one thing which was always bugging me personally about the F4 boards. And again, it might be just because we were both buying the super cheap ones with maybe questionable components in there. And again, there's this thread. I will put a link to this, or go and have a look up in the Facebook group. Just search for F722 in the Facebook group. And it's a fantastic thread, because there's been just so much great feedback in there. We've kind of found a decision on this, which is that it's probably because, Matt, it's the first decent board which you've been and bought, which has got quality components in there, like a decent gyro. And that's the thing, that was the bit which I was worried about, is that it was noticeably different with the free wing. The free wing just went straight off, it flew great, and even in manual mode, it was extremely smooth. What I was finding on the previous installs with an F4 board is that it was very steppy in manual mode, and we had conversations about we use an S-bus on these ones and things like that, and yes, we were using the same things on everything except for the processor board, and now I've moved to an F7 board. It's like, is this like the iPhone effect again? Is it because I think it's newer, I think it's better? Is it really better? but there is definitely something different on the flight line, and it could have just been down to using the latest version of iNav, for example. I've not done a like-for-like comparison using back to 1.7.4, I think, to the latest version. Obviously, there's going to be differences between them. If anything, they've added way more code, so in theory, it should be slower. But yeah, there's a really interesting thread in the Facebook group. Go and have a read of that one, because there's lots of theories why it might be smoother. I now feel maybe it's just the first time I've used decent components like the Matek board, and it has worked out really, really well. And one other thing is as well, when moving the board around in the configurator, it does feel really, really smooth. And I was not the only person to notice that. Again, I'm always careful on this iPhone effect. It's new, it's better, it's improved. Is it really improved? I noticed a difference, but I'm still like wary on that one. Is it just a placebo effect? A very, very curious topic, to say the least. Now, apologies, I've not really kept any idea on your chat. I tell you what, there's been a lot of me chatting. Let's go across to shout out corner. So this is where I get to say good morning to you. So give me a moment. I'm going to have a quick slurp of coffee. Remember, this is an RC coffee chat after all. Right, let's go and start, and you can see the screen trying to catch up with the amount of chat which has been going on down the side. So I seem to have lost my scroll bar. Oh no, there we go. So good morning Zenith, good morning Lauren as well, good morning Sean FPV, good morning Bonafide Pirates. I'm sure I've missed someone in there as well already. Let me just move on down. Carol, good morning as well. Jim, good morning. Bush Block, good morning. Austin, good morning. Phil, good morning too. Scrolling down, who have I missed? Welsh Dave, Sean, good morning as well. Les, good morning. Roddy, good morning. Vince, good morning. And I said a lot good morning to Lauren as well. So if I missed your name, I do apologise. It's just in the list there somewhere, and I've been and missed it. So there we go. Right. Next topic. Hobbyking. Now, when Hobbyking, we need to put this into perspective, is that when Hobbyking released their new website last year, or the year before, no, it was last year, it was not very well thought out and a bit of a rush job. And I think that showed quite badly to everybody who was involved. Especially customers, especially me, just because of my background, which is e-commerce anyway. It did very much look like a rush job. And the one thing you've got to say is that over the last 6-7 months or so, things have improved. There's been more features going in there, decent LED navigation down the right-hand side of the screen, and other bits and bobs. And it has slowly worked forwards. And then, a couple of days ago, they completely reworked it. And I've got to say, for the better. I'm just going to pop that up on the screen. They really have reworked it for the better. I saw the note in the forums that they've done a new site, and I had a look on the phone and said, yeah, it's all right, whatever. And then it was the morning after, which way I went and had a look. And one thing to note, that when you've got a site which is using, in fact, let me just go and turn my head off on here a second. When you've got a site which is using boxed or just square designs, it's actually very, very hard to get that kind of design to work and actually to carry it off. And they've actually done a very, very good job. My only pet niggle, I think it's so much better. So much better. Like, from a user's point of view, it's so much better. It's a lot more cleaner. And I'm going to stay positive on that note. The only one thing which I'm going to point out is that they've kind of forgotten about. So if you go to eBay, or maybe even say even Amazon, the web standard is for a shopping cart to be in the top right hand corner of your screen. Whether you know that's where it should be consciously or subconsciously, when you add an item to the cart, you always go to the top right hand corner of the screen. That's one cardinal rule which is generally never suggested that you tinker with. And that's one thing which they have been done. I don't like the idea that they've got this cart in the bottom right hand corner. You should always have a cart icon in the top right hand corner, okay? And that's one mistake, big mistake I would say, they've been alerts. That is a web designer's choice to have a cart in the bottom right hand corner. That is not a user's choice. Anytime you would add an item to the cart, you would expect the shopping cart to be in the top right hand corner. And I think that's one thing which they've, one minor tweak which needs to be made to the existing site or the new site. I actually think it's kind of nice. You could say that the points and the stupid, this piece here is not the best use. That really needs to be on the end, because who really gives a blue monkeys about its 105 bonus points? Okay, really that should be the end. On a slightly different topic, so thumbs up for me on that one. I do like that. Just stick the cart icon in the top right hand corner. You'll stop losing cells because of people having to hunt around the page. There's a old but equally very good book called Don't Make Me Think, Stephen, whatever his name is. Fantastic book, and that goes through basic web design, and that's one of the cardinal rules which you don't ever cross. Even for the sake of having a fancy cart button in the bottom right hand corner. It's fancy, yes, we'll learn where it is, but if you're making an idiot think, that's not the best thing to do with an idiot, aka customer. Sorry, I've just probably insulted everybody watching this one, but you kind of get my point here. Anyway, I've got one of these on the way to me. Turnigy, what's it called? TQ4. This is kind of like highlights the issue which I've got. There is a really, really good video. If you want something maybe a little bit more relaxed, okay, maybe almost one might say, and in this, maybe a little bit more heart to heart, okay. Go and watch this video. It's not been released yet. It might go out tomorrow night. It's called a WorkBench chat. What's falling down the side of the desk, and you'll be amazed of what has fallen down the side of the workbench. And there's a few confessions in there. Now, one of the points which I'm making for that video was that it's pretty hardcore when you've already got basically 5 chargers. So I've got the reactor quad core here, which allows me to charge 4 batteries at the same time. I've got the ISDT little one as well, which works really well. But the thing is that I come back from a flying day, and it feels like I'm having to nurse a baby every 2 minutes, because one battery's charged, one needs to get changed and things like that. So I've decided to get another 4-port charger. And when I was doing my research last week, is that there was only really buying another reactor, which was about 160 quid, 170 quid, something like that. There was another big Sky RC one, which was on Bang Good, but that's like $200. Mind you, there were codes available to get it to about $160. And there was only this one which really stood out because of the price, because it was £59.30 showing on my screen. So it was less than half the price, literally less than half the price to anything else which was out there as far as quad charging goes. Now, the one thing, well, there's 2 things which I know about, and again, thanks to everybody in the Facebook group, which was that number one, you only get, and I don't know why they do this, you only get 2 balance boards. So you have a 4-port charger, but most people don't, let's say most normal pilots don't use 6S, so they can only use half the model, or they've got to go and buy these balance boards, which you cannot buy on the Hobbyking website because they're out of stock. So this morning, although I bought it 2 or 3 days ago, this morning I finally got around and I've bought 2 more of those balance boards for £5.45 off eBay, which is a bit of a downer for like the products as a whole, because I understand why you would only include 2 when the actual device needs 4. But that said, that was the one minor gripe which I knew about, and apparently the buttons are a bit crap. So do look out for a review on this in the near future. I'm looking forward to it. And again, I just want to thank everybody who gave me the feedback on this one from the Facebook group, because there were people in there saying, I think it was Jake said it was not very good and he had to send this back. Family friendly, I'm doing all right. And then there was several other people which says that they've had it for several years. So it was a real mixed, well-balanced feedback on there. So thank you to everybody who commented on that one. Decided to buy one. We'll see what it's like. It should be here in the next couple of days because I've had to buy it from the EU warehouse. So that does take a little bit longer. Right, apologies, I've not really been keeping up with your chat this morning. So good morning, Dan, by the way, and good morning, Henry and James, and Legend as well. So, apologies, I've just seen it on the right side. Someone bought, Zenith just bought some spare EF Extra wings. I've not managed to break the wings on my EF Extra. I've managed to snap my fuselage in half twice. And the EF Extra may actually make it to one of the Model Mondays, which kind of brings us on to the note, did you see this week's Model Monday? Mini Talon, was that not worthy of a Model Monday? Being number 2 in the list? I think it probably was. There's been a whole raft of discussion going on just in the comment section for that video alone on the feedback on the Mini Talon. It's a corking model. What's it, like 40 quid tops? And that's assuming you don't get it on sale. Absolutely brilliant. And I can't say anything more. I'm trying to keep these Model Monday videos down to, well, the plan was 5 minutes. But in reality, it turned into 26 minutes and 34 seconds. It needed it. It was worthy of that, I'm sure. And if you've seen the Model Monday episode 2, happy days. Model Monday episode 3 will be out next Monday. And if you'd like to know what that is, then you can either check in the Faceballs group or look down in the video description into the video, because there's a link to that one as well. And the reason why we got there is because the EF Extra is definitely worthy of going into the Model Mondays. So we may be seeing that one in the very near future. Next topic is that we've got a new series. We really have. I don't know if you've seen the introduction. I appear to have been pissing people off with my new series. And that's the thing. So I need to put this into the context. The new series is called Bird or Turd. In fact, let me just go and see if I can find the turd a second. Because it's definitely a conversation piece. Because who knew that I would end up making... Oh, where is it? There we go. Who knew that it was going to turn out like this? I had no idea. I think we've been a set of precedents for all of it now. So we go to full screen. So this was a bird which turned up here. It was $23. And again, the premise for this series is that it's got to cost $25 or less. So it's got to be a kiddie's toy, in inverted commas. And we're going to find out whether it's a bird or a turd. Nobody knows. And that's the thing, is that I had this little thing turn up and it looked really cute. And it's got the weirdest of things. Can you see that? Just there. That little hole, it's trying to focus on me at the moment. That little hole down there, it's just a little coil, and every time it gets charged, it moves the servo. And the thing is this model which turned up, well, it's not even a model, it's this toy which turned up. The irony is that the battery was flat as a pancake. I got it down there. You couldn't even rescue it. It's on my desk because I need to go and deal with it somewhere else. Just to be on the safe side. The battery turned up and it was completely dead. Couldn't even be rescued on the charger. So I stuck another battery in it, and then it turned out that the rudder was only working. And I don't want to spoil any more of it because there's a whole the intro video is there, and then you find out why we ended up building this, which is my little hovercraft, which really didn't work very well at all, but was quite good fun to make. And that is the Bird or Turd series. I've listed them all down in the video description. I've got about 8 birds or turds on the way to me right now for this new series. Because that's the thing, we don't know if they're serious RC models or not. I had no idea I'd be making a hovercraft with the first one. So yeah, look out for the series on that. There is definitely some McFuckery to be had. If the first episode is anything to go by. And if you want to watch the first episode, it's about 40 minutes long, and it's the whole journey of how I end up. We have like the intro, we have to take a look at the model, and then we go into the next day, and it was actually recorded over a couple of days. And it's a nice little journey, just like from the beginning to where we end up, and it's not where I expected at all at the end. So that video is already out. It's in the video description. It's just not been published on YouTube yet, and of course it's also in the Faceballs group as well. Good morning, James. You woke up with a 50-inch stiffy. Good lad. Good lad. So yeah, the new bot series is on its way. That first episode should be out publicly at some point over the weekend. Again, one of the purposes of the Facebook group is to be able to publish episodes which are going to be coming out shortly in that group before they actually goes out and hits YouTube. And the last topic which we are going to cover today, because I'm a little bit wary on time, is 2650 batteries. So there's a great conversation. Again, just kind of proves the value of the Facebook group itself on 26650 batteries. So many of you will know about me using 18650 batteries, like those ones there, in model airplanes, which then they work really well. The Nano Talon will be flown with a 2650, an 18650 Lion pack, which goes in there because it can fly it around for 3,000. Oh, that pack's 3,500 milliamperes, right at the top limit. 3,500 pack in such a smaller capacity. 4S, that's the pack which I've got for the Nano Talon. The thing is that I was doing a little bit of research and I was looking at the 2650 batteries, and I found some, what I thought, genuine fakes on AliExpress, of all places. And again, this was great because when you start digging in here, Florin, so big thumbs up to Florin, had spotted or posted in this one, which was that they really are. You get a little bit worried when a Chinese manufacturer says one thing, and we all know that they may have just stuck a AAA battery inside of it and soldered it up, as we've seen on Big Clive's channel on YouTube before. But on a serious point, is 5,000 milliamperes, and it does okay. If you look at the specifications, it's not far off. And then other people started chipping in with these ones. Now, there is an argument that they're not as dense as maybe as an 18650 battery. You would probably get better bang for your buck and less weight if you use two 18650 batteries over one of these. But then again, I'm thinking some of my models I'll be able to fit one like a 4S pack of those in them, but I wouldn't be able to put a stat pack like that in. Like the Freewing, for example, is that one of those four of those will fit in the nose area, from what I've crudely worked out, but I won't be able to stick a 4S 2P pack in there because it just won't fit in the nose, and also it'll be just too heavy. So I originally bought 10, and then based upon the great feedback which I had from everybody in the group, is that I then went and bought another 10. So I've actually got 20 on the way to me. Now, don't worry, I haven't spent all my RC model fund on them. I think they were about $40, which is just a complete joke. $40. Hey ho. I've like I said, I've bought for 20 of them, not 40 of them. And yeah, they were $40 or so for 10 of them, which I thought was a bit of a bargain. So I've been and bought loads of those, and go and have a read of the chat of those in the Facebook group. There's a really, really good chat, and then also there's some good, like, straightforward questions like why would I use a Lion pack over a LiPo, and the simple answer to that question, actually, I think it was the simplest answer which you can give, is weight and flight time. So compared to a LiPo, it's less weight, and because the power density is greater than a LiPo battery, it's less weight and you get more milliamperes, which basically means that you can sit in the sky for longer. The downside, there's always a downside to these things, is potentially the amount of current or continuous current these batteries can give out. They call them 50 amps, but I think like the max current out of it was, it's written in there somewhere, it's not popping out at me at the moment, can't see it for toffee at the moment. Anyway, there is a max current which can come out of those cells, obviously dependent upon the cells, and I've forgotten whether the negative was as well. Oh, price, more expensive than LiPo batteries, so that is always a negative in most things in life if it's more expensive. Anyway, it is time for me to go. So a quick look on your chat on there. Balsa, yeah, we were having a chit chat about that. Balsa, what was that? That ME169, 109, whatever it is I've got here. Yeah, it's still on the top. No chance of being built. Really don't. Nearly balsa builds really just don't do it for me. So hope that answers your question as well, Lauren. Yeah, balsa is not for me at all. So it's up there on the shelf, up there out the way, and it's probably going to stay up there for a very long time until Matt just gets pissed off of it. It just sticks it on the bonfire at some point. I know, and that's just harsh, isn't it? It's probably a really good model. It's just no interest to me at all. And it would be great if someone... Excuse me. Apologies for that. It would be great if somebody could go on and build, somebody who likes building could build it for me. But the reality is I've tried a few different people and nobody's really that interested. So yeah, to be honest, that one is sat on the shelf until I feel utterly motivated to go and build it, or to be frankly honest, I think it's just going to sit up there till I feel ashamed of it, and then I'm just going to chuck on the bonfire and then it'll be gone. Waste of money, in short. So balsa kits are just not good value for me at all. That's brutal, but that's the way it is. Somebody also mentioned that Fluttergate is on the way at the moment. That little wing is that I did like stand on one of its ailerons here the other day, which needs to get laminated. If you saw my fix pile, which way is it? There. It is absolutely massive, my fix pile at the moment. It's just beyond a joke. So there is so much backlog. There's a photograph of my fix pile in the Facebook group at the moment, and it's just horrific. And it's not. I've not even had like a smashing time. I've been pretty good the last couple of times I've been going out, and I've brought back very little in the way of broken models. It's just I haven't had time to fix anything lately, and it's been mounting up for weeks on end. So it's pretty bad. Yeah. So yeah, apologies. It probably will just turn into firewood, Lauren. Brutal reality for it. Anyway, it is time for me to go. I was going to do some stuff with the phone. I will do that another time. It needs a little bit more of a pre-thought, in short. So, pre-planning, should I say. Right, it was running a little bit late this morning. Anyway, so to quickly recap what we've been and discussed in today's RC Coffee Chats. Number one was about iNav, RC2, RC3, and just iNav 2.0.0, the latest version, which is available. Actually pretty damn good. We also spoke about that being in the Freewing. We spoke about the cruise mode and also the new map mode, which they've got as well. I also mentioned the new configurator, which they've got, is also definitely thumbs up. The mixer is just so much easier to use. No more mucking around with pasting commands in. It was such a mess before. So much easier now. We also spoke about the Nano Talon as well, and I will put a link at the end of this video once it's finished processing on YouTube to Keith's video on the mod for this, because flat-wing Nano Talon, I haven't flown it yet, so as always we always hold off final judgment till we get the model out, but just judging by Keith's footage, the second I'd seen the video, I completely understood where Bonafide Pirate was going with that. And hence why I'd already had the printer running in the background before the video had even finished. So it's a mod which I've made to mine. Anything to improve that little model, because like I said, I do enjoy it. It does get flown quite often here, but it's just not something which I normally stick on YouTube, which I haven't stuck on YouTube before. We then went on and we spoke about the new Hobbyking website, which is definitely thumbs up. Do like the new website. The only thing which I can point out is the cart is in the wrong place. It's been put in the bottom right hand corner by a web designer, and it's not been put in the top right hand corner by every other single user who has to use the site. That's my only niggle on there, and it's all pretty straightforward. I like it, in short. So moving on, we've got the new Bird or Turd series. The introduction went out last night. I just don't know what to expect. You don't know what to expect. I don't know what to expect. Expect some birds and expect some turds. It's just it's going to be a random series, because who knew that I was going to end up making a little hovercraft. So I had no idea. I've got no idea where that series is going to take us. But it was good fun. I know for me, it was good fun making it. I've been been back and watched the episode myself. It's a really nice journey. It's from the beginning to the end. I know it's a longer episode. It's like a 40-minute episode or something. But I enjoyed it. So that's the main thing. So I sincerely hope that you kind of enjoy it as well. And then we spoke about Model Mondays. We do have a new Model Monday coming out next week. If you'd like a spoiler of what that is, down in the video description, press show more. And there's a shed ton of episodes which haven't even been published yet on YouTube, so you can catch up with the backlog which is going on at the moment. And the last topic which we discussed is the 2650 batteries. Those are on the way to me right now, and we'll find out if they're any good or not, as the case may be. But from all indications, they do look like they're going to be good ones. So on that note, from myself, Matt, big thank you to you for taking the time to join me here for an RC coffee chat. And a coffee and a sip, or slurp of coffee with Matt with a bit of croaky voice now. If it's your first time here, do me a favour, hit the thumbs up. I hope that you've been enjoying this episode. Again, if you are new here, don't forget to press the red subscribe button underneath this video. And because YouTube is just off its pajamas, you also need to press the bell icon so that YouTube will notify you when the next video is out. I don't know of anywhere else where you need to double subscribe to say that you want something. Or maybe it's in email marketing and GDPR, but let's not even go on that one because that's a whole great big mess. Anyway, it's time for me to go. For myself, Matt, thank you. I'll see you same time next week here, this desk, same coffee jug, different topics. For myself, Matt, cheerios.